The two of them stared silently at the elixirs that they had individually made. The others were silent too. They had used the same exact material, but the items produced were so different that the people seeing it looked as if they were enchanted. It was the alchemist who made a move first. She fiddled with her glasses with her dry-knuckled fingers and tilted her head. "Is this the elixir you made, Yongamnim?" The Medicine King was silent. The alchemist picked up the Medicine King's potion and scanned all over it. Even looking at it from another angle. She even tried to turn it upside down. Then, she returned the potion to the Medicine King's hand and fixed her glasses. "It's at this level, huh?" Is this person the type of person who becomes infinitely stronger when she thinks she is in an advantageous position? In other words, like all other high-rank hunters, she harbors the seeds of a freak? That can't be. It can't be. While my trust in humans was on the verge of collapsing, the Medicine King barely responded. The height difference between the two was huge. The woman's height was as bright and promising as she lived, and the old man's body was as short as he had lived. So the alchemist looked down at the Medicine King, and the Medicine King looked up at the alchemist. "Yongamnim, don't tell me. Greenhorn, don't tell me." Both of them spoke at the same time. "Is your ability at elixir making just bad? Are you just lucky?" Huh? As the alchemist tilted her head, the Medicine King nodded. "It was good luck." "What?" "Tchhhh. This is why young people are like this. It reminds me of when I was in my 30s, I earned about $1.7 billion in 10 minutes on Wall Street. I thought it was all because of my skills." The alchemist tilted her head. Her glasses also tilted along. A heartfelt voice came from the lips of the tilting alchemist. "Would you like to try again? Is that okay, with you? The goddess of fortune doesn't smile twice. Tchhhh, young people are just." 3 minutes passed. "You're very lucky. But the goddess of fortune doesn't smile the third time. This time, the difference in our years of experience will definitely." 3 more minutes passed. "You're extremely lucky. But the goddess of fortune doesn't smile the fourth time." "Stop." In the end, the Sword Saint gripped the Medicine King's shoulder. "Enough, Medicine King. Marcus, what are you talking about? Right now you look awfully disgraceful. That's not it. This time for sure. This time for sure, my skills. My experience will destroy that first-timer's luck. Can't you see? This is my, Sean McAllister's victory road. I'm sorry, miss. You're really the best alchemist. It's my bad that I didn't immediately trust and understand why the Death King was vouching for you." The Sword Saint bowed and apologized. The alchemist, who was looking down at the Medicine King with her eyes as if she was looking at a bunch of fleas, pulled herself together. It must be hard having a friend like him. Even if he's acting like this, it's not like there's nothing good about him. Elixirs. Though he's not as good as you, he does make some pretty good ones. Yes, I feel like it's better than nothing. It's not like he doesn't have any basic skill at all, so it's not like he can't be used as an assistant. It was at the moment when the alchemist muttered as she fixed her glasses. "You." With a nimbleness that greatly resembled a cat running towards a silver pine grass, Sangrion's master, the Count, grabbed the alchemist by her wrist to pull her over. "A contract." "Huh. A contract. An immediate contract. Exclusive contract. A contract with me." I'll guarantee that you will receive the best treatment in the industry. I'll even let you touch the cat. No, I'll let you roll around in the cat field. How about it? How about it? The alchemist was perplexed and was unable to speak. But the count pouncing upon her was only the beginning. Me too. Alchemist Nim. And since the Death King pointed you out, I'll call you Alchemist King Nim. No, exclude the king, it's just Alchemist Nim. It's the god of medicine. Give us some elixirs too, please. She got the same treatment as I did when I had solo cleared the 10th floor. The request for countless handshakes overwhelmed the alchemist. 4. For starters. The alchemist was flustered and pushed people away. To those of you who want to trade with me, first of all, please ask permission from the Death King. Of course, I'll still do trade with my previous customers. The Crusader Nim is all right. If not, for now, I'm only going to sell elixirs to people that Death King allows, so, on the condition that they do not cause any trouble to Death King. Her words drew the eyes of the hunters, including the count, towards me. Crusader quietly drowned in her victory, did a hooray pose, and then quietly went off again. I grinned. First of all, let's think about it after breaking the apocalypse. Yes. Climbing a tower always works for the hunters. Even the count backed away with a bitter feeling. Good. With this, the members are in place. For starters, we have Sword Saint. And we also have the alchemist. Above all, there's me. No. No way. This can't be happening. My years of experience can't be foiled by the luck of a mere greenhorn. I don't know if he was Medicine King or Emperor of Self-Deception. Though, just like what Alchemist said, he was better than nothing. Well, I guess all the characters have been decided. The librarian, who had been watching our show so far, said cheerfully. I'll say it again. If you die inside the apocalypse, you will die in reality. There's only one way to get out unscathed. Overcome the crisis of serial discontinuation in any way you can and then create a proper ending. What's a proper ending? That depends on your judgment. The librarian grinned at my question. Maybe you can save Murim by eradicating the epidemic. Or by using the epidemic, you can possibly become the master of Murim yourself. The possibilities are practically limitless. Please think for yourself which will be the best ending. In short, it means that the choice would entirely be ours to make. I nodded. Good. Then please send us to Chronicles of Heavenly Demon right now. Wait a minute. Someone shouted. Isn't Sect Master Nim going? I know, right? Isn't a martial arts related apocalypse a perfect opportunity for Sect Master Nim to actively take part in? Chen Mu Mun. They were hunters from the guild headed by Venomous Snake. The Venomous Snake, who was still holding his breath in the martial arts group, batted his eyes. Huh? To the perplexed Venomous Snake, the guild members spouted out one word after another. No matter how much I think about it, it's a world meant for the Sect Master Nim. I think so too. Sect Master Nim. Doesn't a strong player's duty refer to our Sect Master Nim? I think so too, Master. Master should come forward. The Venomous Snake frowned. And slowly put his arms together. Those thick eyebrows and the one eye below them were full of manly determination. All right. I was just about to step up. You bastards, you haven't forgotten me, right? I was speechless. That's strange. That person wouldn't be interested in the martial arts world though? Something was fishy, so when I pulled up the character window to read his psychological state. Sure enough. No, you shitty disciples. Why the hell are you trying to send me to that kind of village? The venomous snake was crying inwardly. He was serious, but only on the outside. So the one-eyed prosecutor spoke calmly as if he had been waiting for his disciples to push his back with such encouraging remarks. Those who worship martial skills and chivalry. The world of martial artists and chivalrous fighters, that is the Murim. Even though I was born in a different hometown, I have long kept the Murim as my heart's hometown. There won't be a flush toilet there. How much shitty trouble did I have to go through because of that in the Ejim Empire, this fucking. Holy crap. It's not like you don't know why the clan I set up is called Chinmumun. With the cheat skill, Cheon Musang I have, before I came to the tower, the fact that I was a 32-year-old mujik who seemed to have painted a big picture, was there a Mun Jae? Everyone knew it's Chinmumun for short. That's how the sign man made it too. I can't even explain this now that we've come this far, damn it. T/N, I decided to keep all the Korean words so that everyone would understand the meaning behind Chinmumun. Basically Cheon Musang means unrivaled under the heavens, whereas Mujik means jobless, and Mun Jae means problem. Holy shit. I must go, by all means. I absolutely don't want to go. I was beyond speechless. Bae Hurayong, who shared consciousness with me, seemed to have a similar reaction. Shiny reports that she's also speechless. There was an existence in front of me that made people, specters, and constellations alike all speechless. You woo. Such an existence actually garnered the cheers of the hunters. The guild members of the Chenmumun were particularly pleased. As expected of Sect Master Nim. I knew you'd step forward, Master Nim. Our idol. A true hunter of this era. I will follow you forever. Sect Master. If I didn't have the ability to read psychological states. Who knows, I might have also admired him too. No matter where you look, the venomous snake's appearance was that of a chivalrous fighter who devoted his life to the sword. Just like the sword saint. That sword saint folded his arms. Ahem. Venomous snake, if it's you, you have all the right to feel like going. If you say it like that, it feels like you're nagging. But even so, I don't think there's any reason for this man to make concessions. The sword saint extended his aura. It was a situation where the venomous snake was already exuding his force. The energies exuded by two swordsmen clashed. Pong. With the sound of balloons bursting, the air around the colliding forces changed rapidly. The bookmark maids must have felt a sense of crisis, and either ran away quickly or were caught up in the clash of force and were sent flying. The hunters were more excited. Sword Saint and the venomous snake facing each other. This is a battle of pride. It was a rare sight in a literal sense. For me, who knew the psychological state of the venomous snake, it was a rare sight. At that instant, the sound of someone limping could be heard. Sword Saint. Chenmumun Master. Stop it. It was the sound of the Crusader taking a step forward. The reason why a limping sound was heard was that Crusader was one of the few figures who bet money on the alchemist during the bet earlier. Her purse, which had always been thin, was now packed full with 47 times the betting amount. The reason why the Crusader with the most serious expression seemed a little strange was because of the spell of her stuffed purse. You're not going to start stabbing at each other here, right? Regardless of the purse, the voice of the Crusader was solemn. As had always been the case, the two's fight was mediated. As always. Wait, don't tell me, was it always like this? I know, right, zombie? If it was always like that, and it's just that we didn't know until now. This world seems to be full of forbidden knowledge that we really shouldn't know. The venomous snake snorted. If we have to dance with our swords, then we just have to do it. Fuck, I and the sword saint are martial artists, right? Why don't we just go at it and let the stronger one go? I need to lose on purpose. It's embarrassing to just lose outright, so let's make it a close fight and lose. If I lose to the sword saint, my disciples will understand. Probably. It was a rare sight indeed. The sword saint, who didn't have a clue about such an inside story, wiped the sweat from his forehead. I'm sorry, but venomous snake, against a strong man like you, I will have no choice but to use my full power. As a result of that, you had lost one of your eyes in the last battle. I can't guarantee that the same thing won't happen again. Right back to you, old man. If you come at me thinking I'm still the same me from those days, you'll be lying in a coffin after this. This fucker. Fuck. The appearance of the venomous snake was that of a pompous warrior that lacked nothing. The sword emperor, who was floating beside me, also wiped the sweat off from his forehead like the sword saint. Hey, zombie. Yes, Mr. Sword Emperor. I said all the high-level hunters were crazy, right? But then. Even then. Among them, that bastard, how do I say this? It's for real. My forehead was full of sweat too. In fact, when it came to the sweating on the forehead part, everyone present was in a similar state. All the hunters who were watching this scene had sweat dripping from their foreheads. Those who had gathered in Babylon Square and were watching the broadcast must be sweating too. The Crusader's forehead was full of sweat too. The sweat ran down her cheek and dripped on the purse full of gold coins. At any rate, venomous snake, a man like you. The venomous snake gave off a wide smile. For a warrior. There are moments when you just can't back down. Crusader. Do something about this. The outcry from his desperate mind would never be said out loud, but the Crusader really did something about it. Specifically, she said this to the Sword Saint. Sword Saint, can you please step down this time? Why are you telling that side to back off? Why are you telling that side to back off? Oh, it overlapped. With that our thoughts overlapped. Shiny trembles and pats the warrior's waist for comfort. The Sword Emperor also touched my shoulder. While I was being comforted without words, the Crusader continued to speak toward the Sword Saint. I know you always want to be on the front line. But didn't you already join in the raid of the 12th to 19th floors with the Death King and the Witch? So, it would indeed be a shameless thing to do if you say you want to be the first to step foot into the 22nd floor's raid this time as well. A calm tone and a logical explanation. With a serious expression. The only thing that bothered me was the bulging purse that hung onto the side of her clothes. In addition to that, the Crusader pointed to Venomous Snake, and then to the members who suggested that Sect Master Nim should go. Chinmumun Master is the head of a group. Although he's not a man who cares about the face of his disciples, his position is different from you who plays solo. Can't you respect him a little? Sword Saint, Marcus Callenberry, was pondering. The hard-posed old man frowned. Then relaxed his tight brows. He went through these motions many times. Finally, he folded his arms. When have I ever cared about the honor of you 5 top guilds? The Crusader gritted her teeth. Sword Saint, you really... But... The Sword Saint, who had cut off the Crusader's words, turned his head to stare at me. No, why was he looking at me now? These days, I've been wondering if he's going to have some sense of honor. It was a great sight. A stubborn old man had bent over his stubbornness. It was a beautiful sight, and yet, the grumbling Medicine King still had a "this can't be happening" look on his face beside me, and his body language seemed to convey that he did not want to follow the example of the person before him in the slightest. But why was I seeing that side of him now? Got it. The Sword Saint took a step back. He gazed at the Chronicles of Heavenly Demon full of regret, but the old man brushed it off his heart and said, "Venomous snake, this time I will yield to you." The venomous snake raised his eyes. But that was only for a moment. The venomous snake released his force even more and grinned. He looked like a gambler who had won as he wanted. "You should have done that sooner. You should know that you've just kept your life, old man." "No. What the shit, why are you making concessions all of a sudden? Marcus Callenberry. You're not one to give up anything to anyone else." "No, I don't want to go." There was an indescribable scene happening that no one knew the insides about. As expected, the Crusader also looked at the Sword Saint with the same face, as if it was difficult to describe. Heretic Questioner, who was watching with a sparkling face, jumped and hugged the Crusader's arm. "That's amazing! You convinced the Sword Saint, Crusader." "Well, no. It was the Sword Saint who has accepted my persuasion." "Ahaha, is that so? Then I'll have to hug the Sword Saint." "I strongly refuse." The Sword Saint immediately set up an iron wall. Of course, any random iron wall would not work for the natural-born psycho, so the Sword Saint had to be in trouble for a while. Really, everyone is growing little by little. The witch grinned with her mouth closed like a dot. In a mood as if a heartwarming story had been told, the three people who came to the expedition of Apocalypse, Chronicles of Heavenly Demon, were ready. TCHHHH. If it's decided, go faster you bastards. I'm going to lose it if I keep waiting. You're just the young me. It just can't be helped either. Ha! Really? I should just leave, what can I do? I was defeated by the luck of that greenhorn earlier, but the one-of-a-kind, widely renowned, all-time best alchemist is me, Medicine King. Ugh. Death King. I'm scared. Is it really okay, if someone like me follows? Oh, but of course, I'm at least better than that Medicine King or something though. The outcome was as solid as Galileo Galilei's geocentric theory, but the results are strangely unrecognized by that flea-like old man? Even then, is someone like me? Hey, non-combatants. Take care of yourself when there's a fight. It only takes a moment for a person's neck to fly off, you know? I don't want to go, swap with me. Sword Saint Grandpops, can you please swap with me, even if it's right now? I stared blankly at the expedition members who had come together. The Sword Emperor spoke in a soothing tone which was rare for him. Don't worry, zombie. If you don't think this is correct, just die. Whether you get sick or throw yourself from the ceiling, go back to one day before. This reset, I'm going to acknowledge it for real from the bottom of my soul. Although all I have is a soul now. I nodded weakly. Yes, let's go. Good. The librarian snapped his fingers. Tack. The apocalypse which was in the hands of the Sword Saint flew by itself into the hands of the librarian. He had just lent it to us for a moment, but this book was originally his own, so the librarian flipped open the book with familiar hand gestures. Death King, Venomous Snake, Medicine King, Alchemist. Light radiated from the book. I would like to name these 4 new characters in the Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. When you lot open your eyes there, it will still be a world 10 days before the tragic serial discontinuation of the series. And the light enveloped us. I look forward to your wonderful ending. It was the moment when an expedition team with no hopes or dreams was dispatched. I've never read martial arts novel before. Not only do I have no habit of reading books, but in our generation, martial arts was already a declining genre. Sometimes old martial arts movies were posted on the internet. However, the inferior CG technology would only cause it to be a laughing stock. An era which has come to mock all seriousness. There was no place to stand for martial and arts. A declining genre. A declining world. It was snowing there. It's cold. We, the expedition with no dreams or hopes, safely entered the world of the apocalypse. It was a vast snow field that greeted our party. When our shoes stepped on the snow, it made a cute sound. But the coldness that hit us was not cute in the slightest. Everyone! I shouted hastily. Release your aura and protect your own body. The bitter cold of a snowstorm. Even if we stayed still, our toes would freeze. As soon as he heard my cry, Venomous Snake immediately released his aura. But the non-combatant, Alchemist and the Medicine King, failed to do so. I didn't learn how to use aura. Achoo. Chew. Goo, this old man is dying. I'm going to freeze to death. It had only been 20 seconds since we entered the world of the apocalypse. Already, two persons' complexion turned as if they were going to die. But then again, I did all sorts of things in order to learn aura. How would support-based hunters know how to use aura? TCH. I dealt with it quickly. Chen Mumun Master. Please take care of the Medicine King. Alrighty. The venomous snake carried the Medicine King on his back. Whether he was the Emperor of Light Novel or a man who lives and dies for his pride, the venomous snake was undoubtedly a top-ranked martial fighter-based hunter. His purple aura immediately surrounded the Medicine King's body. Goo. I'm finally able to breathe. The Medicine King sighed with relief. He has a relaxing face like an old man who had just entered an open-air hot spring. I nodded, and then took the alchemist's hand. You'll follow me, Sajangnim. Huh, what? Give me your hand. My aura flowed from my hand to the alchemist's hand. A red aura. The aura, which had yet to be identified as a symbol of fire or blood, surrounded the alchemist's body warmly. The alchemist bowed. Thank you. Death King Nim. But this tickles a little bit. I know you're shy. I'm shy, too. But this is no time to be shy. I looked around. A blizzard as thick as a mist. The problem of body temperature was solved urgently, but that was all. I was at a loss where this was and where we had to go. The librarian is a constellation, so he could easily use the word masterpiece and serialization. But this is definitely another world. It's no ordinary book. We're here to save this world. You know that, right? The alchemist raised her eyes. Yes. I do. I guess I thought of it too lightly. I'll try my best. All you have to do is focus on your role. I'm protecting you with aura now, but when you need to cure the epidemic, Sajangnim and Medicine King will have to step forward. I'll leave it in your good hands. Yes, Death King Nim. Guhu dash. The blizzard brushed past our ears. We tried somehow to grasp the surrounding geography with our eyes wide open. I recalled of the last sentence of the Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. The Heavenly Demon suddenly died because of the unidentified epidemic. Soon, everyone else died, too. A concise sentence. The sentence, which was less than 50 characters long, did not state skin-piercing cold, nor did it feature snow that reached the calves and knees. It only stated that the world had fallen. We had to find out from now on. What exactly happened that killed a character such as the heavenly demon? What was the unidentified epidemic that caused humanity of this world to go extinct? Thunk. The alchemist held my right hand a little stronger. She pointed to the other side of the snowstorm. Look over there, Death King. I think I just saw people there. We all looked in the direction pointed by the alchemist. She was right. I couldn't see well because of the heavy snow. But there was a shadow of a person beyond the wind. There were countless shadows. Dozens of people, not just one or two. Perhaps it was even more than 100 people. A forest of silhouettes. Okay. I took the lead and walked. Let's go over there for now. Snow flew around. It wasn't snow falling from the sky. The snow that had already fallen was swept away by the wind. When we were covered by the snowstorm, only shadows could be seen, so we walked close together so that we would not part from each other. Hey, zombie. Bei Hurayong spoke. Bei Hurayong was looking around the surrounding on behalf of my eyes. Something's weird. I can't hear anything from that direction. Isn't it because the snowstorm is so bad that their voices are covered up? That may be the case. Bei Hurayong looked at the forest of silhouettes with thinly opened eyes. But it's not just the voices that I can't hear. Those things, they're not moving at all. They're not moving an inch. They're more like statues, not humans though? Fortunately, the snowstorm soon subsided. Our vision became clearer when the snow stopped. But that was the only fortunate thing. We were speechless at the sight that unfolded before our eyes. What? What are these? The venomous snake puffed white breaths. Why are all the humans frozen? In the midst of the snowy field. Hundreds of humans were all frozen while standing. They're real humans. The alchemist looked at the frozen human and said. Wearing latex gloves, she ripped off the flesh of the corpse with tongs. According to my life diagnosis skill, it's already been 2 years and 3 months since they died. The cause of death was contagion. After analysis by a moving hospital, it is still an unregistered disease. That's strange. The medicine king also took out his monocle and examined every corner of the frozen human corpse. Like a martial fighter-based hunter who would use martial arts skills, they diagnosed the frozen humans with support-based skills. The causes of death are all the same. It's not death by hypothermia. He died from a disease, so they should have died lying on the ground. Aren't they all standing up? Really now. It's spookily strange. When this kind of thing happened in Silicon Valley, it's highly likely someone moved them here on purpose. The alchemist cut off the medicine king's words. The alchemist's expression became serious after hearing my words earlier. Though the cause of death is the same, but the dates of death are all different. This guy was 2 years ago. That person died 3 years ago. I can only think that someone intentionally moved the body. I frowned. Is this some kind of grave? The venomous snake stroked his chin. A grave, huh? It also looks like a terracotta army from far. The frozen humans all had a separate pose. Some looked up at the sky with open arms. And another had his mouth open like a beast. Character window. I looked at a frozen human that was the closest and chanted it in my mind. The letters popped up over the white snowfield. Name, Jang Songpa. Favorability, favorite genre. Unfavorable genre. Favorite characters. Unfavorable characters. Preferred plots. Undesired plots. Psychological state, light. Plus. So this was how a dead person's character window looked like. Maybe the light in his psychological state was the last thought he had when he died. The corpse's mind was fixed like a phrase inscribed on a tombstone. The party chattered in the face of the mystery. Grave. If this was a cemetery, why was it made this way? Who knows? But they all have weapons hanging from their waist. Is there no good place to stay? It's a little warm thanks to the aura, but... It was at that moment. You ha 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 ha. Laughter came from afar. Our party lowered our body reflexively. Perhaps the owner of the laugh may not have noticed us, and shouted towards someone. The heavenly demon sect ends today. Ha! Even a passing dog will turn over and laugh. It wasn't just one voice. There were two. As long as I am alive and well, the heavenly demon sect would remain alive and well. Buwulsun, you're the one that should say your last goodbyes to the Muram factions. Clear voices. One was the voice of an old man, and the other was the voice of a young woman. The old man shouted. Bullshit. The bloody ghost squad that your demon cult boasted has their heads blown off by the blades of my axes. The rotten demon elders also had their heads cut off and sent to the Yellow River. There's 500 martial masters of Muram that follow me. What sorcery will you use to stop this body? Pfft. The woman laughed softly. What a long tongue this old man has. The bloody ghosts is just staying out of radar for a while after receiving my secret order. They're not weak enough to be killed by someone like you. I raised my finger and signaled it to the party. Shh! The party batted their eyes. Let's get closer quietly. Okay? The party nodded silently. We crept through the frozen human cemetery and the forest of corpses. The voices of the two unknown individuals gradually grew closer. Soon after, the two people could be seen. Before you worry about my subordinates, how about worrying about your own underling, Wulsun? The woman was wearing a black uniform. Where did all the pillars of the state that you were so proud of fuck off to? The old monster, once revered as the faction leader of the Muram, has become ugly. Ha! The old man was wearing a white robe. It's none of your business. They quickly spread to the whole world on my secret orders. I see that you all have quite a lot of secret orders too. Isn't this at all because you screwed up the whole world, you bitch? Ugh. If it weren't for the retarded heavenly demon cult, the world wouldn't be this abnormal. If we're idiots, what would that make you Muram people who got your asses handed to you by such idiots? It'd be correct to call you idiots of all idiots. Huh, you bitch dare to. If you're tilted, come at me. Old man. A very low-level fight was taking place. According to what they said, the elderly man dressed in a robe was a figure on the Muram sect and the woman in the black uniform seemed to be on the demon sect side. The old man of the Muram sect and the woman of the demon cult pointed their weapons at each other. I'm done with this shit. I can't stand fucking demon heads like you anymore, bitch. I'll split your head into two, and offer one to the Jade Emperor and the other to Yomra. Who? I was hoping for a life or death situation. I'll finally cut off the last flesh and blood of the Muram sect today, and show that the heavenly demon sect is alive and well. Though they spoke frivolously, it was a typical duel of the Muram people. Now if the two people exert their force and start sword fighting, everything would have been perfect. But a serious problem was found. Hey, zombie. Bei Hurayong muttered dejectedly. What are they doing holding a branch? That's right. The old man and the woman, the two powerful people, held a wooden stick as thin as a cane. That was the weapon that the two brought out. There were no brilliant weapons that could be seen that usually appeared in martial arts movies. The two seemed to be embarrassed when they aimed at each other with wooden sticks. They exchanged awkward glances. The woman in black robes slowly opened her mouth. "Hey, Buwulsun. Where did you put the jade axe you bragged about that you are carrying a piece of wood? For being a trash of the Nangong family, your only merit was that you wielded your axe valiantly." Shut up. The old man's face became flushed. "Right back at you, bitch. Where did you throw your blood-weaving demonic sword, that you treasured like a daughter, that you are holding such a cane?" "Ahem, what do you mean a cane?" The woman averted her gaze. "That's too much. Even if it looks like this is a wooden sword that I personally carved and made. This sword contained the essence of the 1,000-years-old demon sect, and personally gave the name of 100 Sky-Splitting Sword for this weapon." "Did you just stick the name Sky-Splitting to a cane right now?" "Can't I do that?" Silence. The old man said in a calm manner. "Ahem. Even so, 100 Sky-Splitting Sword is just over the top. Why don't you use a trivial name such as Pionti? The word Pionti is not supposed to literally mean a cane. The word basically means cane, and it literally looks like a cane." "You stupid." The woman nodded sullenly. "All right then. If that's what you say, the name demonic Pionti is good enough. You and your demon." "Demon." The old man's white beard trembled. "Why are all the demon cults people making a fuss with putting demon on their names? You're your subordinates, and there are 4 demons: Bloody Demon, Sword Demon, Flame Ghost Demon, Moon Shadow Demon Lord. Even their moniker are called the 4 Demon Lord. You bastards, even before you learn the 1,000-character classic, do you all first memorize the word demon? Isn't there a refined feel to it? Ag. I can't believe that you bitches were considered the strongest at one time." Just then, dark clouds covered the sun. The snowy clouds were so thick that they sank thickly into the snowfield. In an instant the world darkened like it was dusk. "Ha!" The old man flinched. Demon head. This is no time for us to fight amongst ourselves." The 2 Murim people leaned against each other as if they never had an argument. A cold sweat broke out from the woman's forehead. "Damn it. The law of heaven has been acting as it pleases nowadays. You bitch. Weren't you confident that the weather would be clear today? There are times when the divination is right and wrong. I had just sloppily learned the art of prediction of the flame ghost demon. How can I see through heaven and earth? I goo. Why don't you just get a fortune teller from the street and make him the religious sect leader? I was deceived by this bitch's words." "Shut up and get ready to fight, old man. I'm losing all my energy that I don't even have anymore." Our party was puzzled. The alchemist, who was close to me, whispered, "What's happening all of a sudden?" "I'm not sure. I don't really. It was at the moment when I was about to say that I didn't know too. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr party made a sound. But as growling sounds began to come from the left, right, front, back, I realized that my thoughts were firmly wrong. Goo. Kayak. Grrr. Grrr. Hike. The alchemist was startled and clung to my arm. Beyond her glasses, I could see that her complexion was blue as a beetle. The faces of the venomous snake and medicine king were not much different. Perhaps my face was now blue too. Kiik. Gu yo. The frozen humans that numbered thousands at a glance. The ones we considered to be just corpses. Moved their arms and legs slowly. Yuh. The dead body's eyes, which stood still, turned. The pupils were open, and the eyebrows were almost missing. Most of all, some of them had their eyes dug in as if worms ate it. Nevertheless, the body stared at us precisely. I made eye contact with one of them. As soon as I saw the dead body's eyes, I realized. This fucking an apocalypse going by the name of Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. The book clearly said this. The Chronicles of Heavenly Demon. Genre, martial arts, fusion. Difficulty level, B class. Player limit, 2 to 4 people. The serialization is currently suspended. Introduction, Murim. A world of those who revere Mu, those who use Mu, those who strive to attain Mu. A heavenly demon descended here and tried to unify Murim. A demonic cult brought together centering on the heavenly demon. The opposing forces who go against this demonic cult. Fighting over the control of the world would be what they would have done. If it wasn't for the sudden super epidemic. Reason for discontinuation, an unidentified epidemic went rampant in the world, causing the heavenly demon to die. The demonic cult was annihilated. The other forces were also destroyed. End. Plus. The bodies, which were thought to be frozen humans, moved slowly. Their movement was slow and sluggish, but the sight of the body moving was a horror in itself. I belatedly realized what the unidentified epidemic was that brought this world to an end. Was the super epidemic, zombie virus? The dead body's mouth opened at the same time I shouted. Yuh! The sun was covered by dark clouds. 1,000 zombies swooped upon us. The alchemist turned pale as she shuddered and tried to scream. Hayek .. Grew. Even after I stopped the alchemist from making any sounds, one could still hear shouts. It was the Medicine King. Old enough to chew out the sword saint despite being his friend, this old man who seemed to think it was only acceptable to view young people as naive and immature, screamed like he lost his marbles. Run away! Run away! I've never seen anything like that even in the Silicon Valley. Wah, we're going to die. The world is coming to an end. This is a world that has already been destroyed, you know. I quickly took out the holy sword and cut off the nearest zombie. Unlike the martial arts genre, I had seen movies and drama of the zombie genre quite often, and so thanks to that, I was able to face my opponents directly on the 13th floor. And now after all that experience, my blade instinctively flew towards the zombie's neck. Kiyu uff. The zombie's head growled even as it soared into the air. The headless body also swung at me, swinging its arms and legs. Damn it. Is it a type of zombie that would only stop moving after its brain is destroyed? That was the worst case. Let's get out of here first. Yo, you bastards, who are you? Finally, the 2 people we saw earlier noticed that we were there. The old man of the righteous sect and the woman of the demonic cult looked in our direction, and they were astonished upon glimpsing at our party, just like we were surprised to see the zombies. Hey, old fart. It seems that the eyes of the great me have turned up strangely. They see, not just 1, but 4 living people. Is the king of the underworld calling for the great me? That's what I see, too. Maybe because you've provoked me first by calling me a retard, I feel as though I really have become retarded. You should run away, too. I rushed to carry the alchemist on my back. And please tell us where to run to while you're at it. Both of them looked at each other. Oh, my world. It really is a living person, old thing. Maybe we're already dead and looking at the scenery of the underworld. Then probably one of the 2 things happened, either you and the great me died and we went to paradise together, or we fell into hell together. I don't think this body, which has served righteousness and honor as a righteous sect lord, will go to hell, so it's probably paradise. However, There are no peach trees, no fairies, and there is an abundance of juncture in here. And above all, you are here too, aren't you? It'll be very odd if this is heaven. Then this must be reality, not a dream. So these people are innocent? At least the warmth of their bodies doesn't seem to resemble the cold of the juncture. Maybe they had figured out that we were already fleeing from the zombie-infested area. The venomous snake took care of the old man of the righteous sect and I was carrying the woman of the demonic cult, while they went on chatting in peace. Where the hell are you guys from? The woman from the demonic cult looked up at me curiously. So you're mastering the miraculous footwork. Are you perhaps children of the Acai way? Are the orangs still alive in the periphery? We are. I didn't understand exactly what Acai way meant, but I had an inkling. She must be asking if we're from a place outside the control of the righteous and demon sections. When I was thinking about what to say, I heard a sound from the back that relieved my worries about giving an answer. Keek keek, keek. Ooh hoo hoo. They were zombies. They ran after us in full swing, probably after setting their bodies back in order. Wouldn't it be more accurate to say they were jumping? What kind of zombie was so lively that it skipped 10 meters with every step? I should have said flying instead of running. The sight of hundreds of zombies flying like a swarm of seagulls gave me both shock and horror. What? The venomous snake was astonished as well. What kind of zombie flies in the sky? It's a Qigong skill invented by the great me. I borrowed it from the lowlives of the land of mystery and improved it. The woman of the demonic cult trembled. Look at that. They've gone beyond the extreme Qigong skill, and even reached the point of walking the air. Are they not the elite of the demonic cult who were taught by the great me? They are true demons because they have not forgotten their martial arts even in their death. Hold on. I said, even if I only understood the approximate nuance of the sentence in a flurry of bizarre words, I still heard something that couldn't be overlooked. They don't forget their martial arts even after they die? Huh? Perhaps you're in the dark about things because you're a child of the Acai way. The woman of the demonic cult tilted her head. If a strong person becomes a juncture, their martial arts spread. Isn't it common sense? I've never heard of such a thing being common sense. Oh, my God. Zombies who use martial arts. If it were a comedy, I'd laugh it off, but now it was not a comedy genre, but the world of genuine martial arts genre. It wasn't the time for jokes. Those children are of the demonic cult, which have been taught directly by the great me. If you take lessons from the great me, your body will react to killing intent even when you go to bed. Hugh. It's great to see the Qigong skill being used even if it's by corpses. Hoo. They're catching up. They'll catch up to us like this, you Manju idiot. The medicine king on the back of the venomous snake screamed. The zombies, who rose into the air, descended like ferocious hawks, and the medicine king almost tore his own hair apart from the tension. Run more. Can't you run faster? If I get bitten and become a zombie, I'll bite you first. Fuck, where is the brat who brought these oldies here, huh? The venomous snake squealed. And why am I surrounded by oldies behind and in front of me while you are surrounded by two women? We are about to be torn to shreds getting hit by the zombies' martial arts. Does that matter now? We're about to die. What else could matter more? Shouted Bei Hurayong, who was shielding the rear on my behalf. They're zombies. Zombies. What kind of bullshit was this? Weakness. I said to the woman of the demonic cult. Don't they have any weaknesses? If you cut off their heads, they will stop moving. Not that, something easier to manage. In fact, I was prepared to die at this moment. That would work on a normal zombie perhaps. But the story was very different if the world was full of zombies who were even able to use martial arts. Not only the sword saint, but it was also the same with the witch and the heretic questioner. I was worried that I might not see a clear angle ever after handpicking all the star members we currently had. The woman of the demonic cult nodded her head. She raised her finger and pointed over my shoulder. When the sun shines, they stop. Indeed. It was simple when you think about it. The scene where zombies started to close in on us, and the scene where they flew in with a qigong technique, were so shocking that I couldn't think around those facts. Nameless maiden. And also the alchemist. Yes? The witch-like woman answered in a nonchalant voice, and the alchemist answered in a rattling voice. I focused the aura on my arm. I'm sorry, but I'll cast you aside. Please land on your own. Yes? And threw the woman and the alchemist as far away as possible, with all the might of a javelin finalist in the Olympic Games. The woman made no sound when she flew away. She just dropped headfirst on the snowy field with a thud. The alchemist, on the other hand, fell with a piercing scream. The snowfield she fell into was engraved with a large, embossed letter. Sorry. I apologized one last time and then stopped. Looking back, hundreds of zombies were rushing in. Kuwerg. Kiik.
Ooh.
Koo. I got goosebumps all over. I have fought with zombies on the 13th floor before, but they were different from these ones flying like mosquitoes in the sky. To be honest, I was a little scared. I'm going to die. For some reason, Beihurayong was delighted. I never thought I'd see a zombie die because of a real zombie again. Good. This is the moment when I check one wish off my bucket list. Did that old man make a bucket list even after he became a ghost? Not yet. In the middle of the snowfield, I faced a group of zombies. I'm not going to die just yet. I pulled the holy sword of the goddess out of its sheath. Striking the teeth of a proud zombie nearest to me and looking at the flesh of the zombie who was previously frozen, I hurriedly spoke into my mind. Shiny. Shiny answers the call of the warrior. Shine. Pa-awea. Fragment of the constellation. The holy sword, the first idol I owned out of the 5 sister swords, radiated light. The snowfield reflected the light and everything shone brightly. And I realized that I had a talent for naming. It was indeed the right choice to give Shiny the name Shiny. Juu. Boo-hoo. They stopped. Zombies seeing the light of the holy sword stopped midair in unison. All of them fell to the ground like mosquitoes that were hit directly by a bug spray. Because they did not break the fall, the snow that covered the snowfield was drilled with holes like a honeycomb. Hyuk! The medicine king, who had been caught by a zombie, groaned. The zombie hardened as it was gripping the medicine king's white hair. Am I alive? Do I get to breathe again? If it weren't for that bastard Marcus, I wouldn't have come to the tower. Curse my fate. Is everyone all right? I didn't let my guard down. It was not yet over. The dark clouds had not receded from the sky, and the ground was still dark. The only light around us was the brilliance being emitted from the holy sword of the goddess. If the light goes out even for a moment, those fearsome zombies would resume their activities. Yes, my face hurts a little, but it's okay. Thank you for saving me, Death King. Fuck, the Medicine King, and this old fart too. I want to live my life while distancing myself from old people, please. The alchemist and the venomous snake informed us that they were safe in their own way. I nodded. Guild Master of Chenmumun. Please take care of the others while I kill the zombies. What are you going to do? I'm going to get rid of them while they're not moving. I aimed at a zombie with the holy sword. It's going to take some time, but it's not hard work. Wait a moment. Child of the Sae way. The woman of the demonic cult rose from the snow. Slowly she brushed the snowflakes off her uniform. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for saving the great me, who is a complete stranger. But if you're going to behead the Jiangshi, then the great me will have to stop you. Why? All kinds of things came to my mind. Is there an unusual curse on a zombie? If it is killed, will the curse be transmitted? In fact, few monsters are as abundant in variations as zombies. Depending on how it is set up in the worldview, they can either become a trash mob or a terrible disaster. But what the woman of the demonic cult told us was something we completely didn't expect. Those are all the demonic cult's followers. Pardon? They're the disciples and subordinates of the Great Me. She was serious. The Great War, which was ignited by the righteous sect bastards, is on the horizon. We are in dire need of every individual. We can't lose more elites here when we're in a tight spot anyway. What kind of a crock of shit was this? Our party did not understand the woman's words. What great war? The heaven and earth of this world were already on the verge of collapsing. There could not be any forces or men to wage war. The librarian had said this as he guided us to the apocalypse. When you open your eyes, it will be the world 10 days before Chronicles of Heavenly Demon faces a discontinuation. I look forward to your wonderful ending. Only 10 days till utter destruction comes. I don't know how many survivors will remain in this world, but after 10 days, they'll all die anyway. Neither the woman of the demonic cult nor the old man of the righteous sect was an exception to this fate. The two righteous and demonic sect people were calm, perhaps it was because they knew of this future. That old man. Righteous sect lord. He's called Bu Wulsun. I've been in the Great War with that old man for 3 years. It's been 989 days since the war was declared. The Great Me and the old man swore on our respective names, and we could never get out of here until one of us concedes defeat. The woman of the demonic cult gravely stated. All of our sect disciples have been reduced to Jiangshi, but if they use the martial arts of the demonic cult, they will soon be demons. They're the men the Great Me has to take care of. Don't kill them. If you want to kill, then only pick the ones wearing priest robes. Bullshit. We painstakingly raked those elites together from the prestigious righteous sect. The old man of the righteous sect jumped up and down. Didn't you make a promise, heavenly demon? You and I will see the end of the great war of good and evil without touching the Jiangshi. Promises are made to be broken. You wicked bitch. Then I'll also smash each of those demon Jiangshi's heads. You son of a bitch, the head of the righteous sect is going to break the bargain? You have finally revealed your true colors of being a hypocrite. Just as they did before the zombies started moving, the two looked as if they were going to have a life or death duel right away. I was dumbfounded. The world is destroyed, and you're saying that you're going to continue doing something like that? The order is wrong. The demonic cult woman called the heavenly demon shook her head. The whole world was destroyed on its own while we were at war. That was to say, the righteous sect old man, the righteous sect lord woman, and the demonic cult, and the heavenly demon fought while putting their fates on the line. There was no problem so far. However, the sudden outbreak of the virus turned all of their subordinates into zombies. Ordinary people would stop the war here, run away, or hide. But you can't put off the game that you've already started. The righteous and demonic sex people were definitely not ordinary. The righteous sect lord and the heavenly demon. Even though all their men were reduced to zombies, they had no intentions of stopping the war. Not only did they not stop, but the two still treated their men who had turned into Jiangshi as their own. That's why the world with the zombie apocalypse had been suffering through a war for 3 years. The Great Me won't stop until we get a victory from that old man. There are still 500 soldiers left to the Great Me. I will lead them and destroy him. That's for me to say, you Madhu. I am joined by a group of martial artists who will fight against you bitches, even if they turn into vengeful spirits. I'll put an end to this tedious 989-day war. Yes. It wasn't just our expedition which had no dreams and hopes. There was no dream or hope in this world itself. The world as they knew it was collapsing, yet the two righteous and demonic sect people had no intentions of stopping their war. This alone was enough to render me speechless, but there was a separate scene that was even more shocking. It was the scene of the two fighting. The scholar does not cover his brush, and the warrior does not cover his sword. The heavenly demon said to the Murim Lord. The wooden stick was still in her hands. Although the Great Me is only holding a wooden stick upon forgetting to bring a sword, I can still send an old man like you beyond the Yellow River. Come on then. The Murim Lord held his cane and shouted vehemently. Let's fight for the last time and determine who will lead the righteous and demonic sects once and for all. Thus the two righteous and demonic sect people clashed. Perhaps the term confrontation was a little too much. The two people's tactics were nothing more than mere drabbing. Heavenly Demon Limbo. T/N, basically the leader of the demonic cult. Kianma is the heavenly demon. Ha! Sky-piercing yellow moon, M. The heavenly demon and the Murim sect lord faced off with fairly specious words. But that was all there was to it. What the two people had in their hands were only wooden canes, and the sound of them clashing was rhythmic and cheerful. Bam! 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 Their canes broke even before the climax of their fight. Then the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord rushed at each other, with a fierce glare in their eyes. The heavenly demon caught the Murim Lord's beard, and the latter grabbed her by the hair. I was speechless. What the hell is this? And then it got more interesting. With all of us dumbfounded. Oh, that's weird. Bei Hurayong gave an unusual response. They've got the right posture. Those guys. What? They're breathing properly with correct movements. Even in my world, they'd be considered masters. I looked at the duel again. The Murim Lord was about to poke the eyes of the heavenly demon, and the latter was hurriedly covering her face with both hands. Those two? You don't know that fundamental principle? That divine dragon's claw poking the eyes is trying to steal the vile dragon's pearl can be called two dragons fighting for a pearl. And that one defending his face can be assimilated to Buddha covering the faces of the humankind and can be called thousand sound observing. The second is a Buddhist belief that Buddha listens to the sufferings of 1,000 people at once and answers them by covering their eyes. The meaning of the closed eyes in Buddhist philosophy is a conception that one is not exposed to the evil around. Hence, one doesn't indulge in any kind of crime. One remains immune to villainous acts and thus protected from all kinds of misgivings and ill fortunes as a result. Face covering equals closing eyes equals relief from suffering. Thus went Bei Hurayong's explanation. I raised one hand to block the last of it. But why are they having a dogfight in such a sloppy manner? That's why it's weird. If they've reached that stage, they should follow the flow of qi, so they should be filled with righteousness. It's because they don't have any energy in their movements, that's why they cannot summon a single flex of aura and were flailing their arms in that slovenly manner. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been like that if their dantians were crushed. Seeing Bei Hurayong constantly tilting his head, I thought of one possibility. Perhaps the only possibility. You're just making fun of me, Sword Emperor, aren't you? Hey, you zombie. I'm not some kind of a sicko, I don't joke around with stuff like this. The Sword Emperor smacked me. No, damn it, can you really not see that? Of all things, I had to go into closed doors cultivation and draw out my form and thought with my drained aura. TSK. Well, I guess that's why I needed you in the first place. Spending many years behind closed doors cultivation upon fighting the Devil King of Fall Rain was only natural. Anyway, the Sword Emperor was serious. And there was one more serious person. That old woman, she's pretty good. The poisonous snake was squinting his eyes. That bite is following the principle of the Zhuangzi, and that arm strike follows the principle of Anwaliang. He says he's real, but I guess a warrior is still a warrior. Yes, like a giant snake biting the king of the earth, and then going on with a dragon-like skin. Did you see that, zombie? Unlike you, I have eyes that see through everything. I went through the venomous snake's thoughts silently. Chen Mumun Master was seriously thinking with his arms folded. If I were to analyze it with my unrivaled under the heaven skill, I'd say it's right. Those movements could also be explained as, it's good to be born as a Helgi hound, Cerberus, and keep the gates of the demon Kingwang castle, but both sides were the rebirth essay of the troublemakers and the class president, so I'm the one stuck between them and the hero of the online game, a male high school student along with his younger classmates who skipped a grade rule and a popular cartoonist, has decided to be a true warrior. I'm sure. T/N, Zhuangzi and Anwaliang appear in the Hangul of the previous sentence. The Sword Emperor was dumbstruck. The unknown alchemist tilted her head. Is that so, Lord? It just looks like a little fight between young kids. Fuck. If it could be clear to anyone, then what's the difference between the master and the follower? It's only obvious to the eyes of people like me. Oh, my God. Just how many skills do they hold? At this rate, those two are above the Sword Saint Grandpa. I feel like I'm going to level up just by looking at them. I got things to teach my disciples when I go back. Sword Emperor. Yes, zombie. All rivers meet in the ocean, right? There's a lot of formulas to come up with the same answer. That's the point of martial arts. Yes, thank you. Fortunately, this strange scene in which the Murim Lord and the Heavenly Demon were having a dogfight, the Emperor of Light novels coming to a realization while watching that, and above all, this strange scene in which I consoled the Sword Emperor, did not last long. Achoo! Agu, I'm freezing to death. The Medicine King screamed. Hey, you bastard and wench! How long are you going to be fighting? Can't you see us in front of you? TSK, look, what a narrow-sighted pair. You're just like young children, exactly like young children. They stopped at the Medicine King's deafening roar. The Murim Lord scratched the back of his head with an embarrassed face. Well, we haven't had a visitor in a long while. Surely this is not the proper behavior to exhibit. The Heavenly Demon also coughed awkwardly. For now, I will guide you to the cave, where the Great Me is staying. It wasn't long before the dark clouds cleared up. I no longer needed Shiny to light the way. The zombies were again as hard as stone in the sun, and we were able to escape the snowfield safely. Huff, huff. Oh, ha. However, the Heavenly Demon and the Murim Lord. The poor physical strength of the two people was a hindrance. The two of them were obviously not ordinary righteous and demonic sect people, but the heads of the demonic cult and the righteous cult. They were the ones who had to show off that they had this world's most powerful martial arts. The Sword Emperor and Chen Mumun Master even guaranteed their military service through different arguments. And yet somehow, The two people were totally out of shape. They were gasping for breath even though they had only walked a little in the snow. I said discreetly because I couldn't stand seeing it. Can I give you a piggyback, if you don't mind? Please. It's not easy to practice mind control, today. In the end, as I did earlier, I carried the heavenly demon, and the venomous snake carried the Murim Lord. The venomous snake said solemnly. Death King. That's not right. What? This is how it should be. It is only right this way. Yes. I didn't have the strength to argue, so I decided to go along with it. It was then. I was seized by a strange feeling as I was carrying the Murim Lord and walking. It's strange. Beihurayong tilted its head. What's weird? He feels warm. His body feels very warm. But isn't the weather so cold now? If we don't use our aura we'll freeze. But he's so warm. The Sword Emperor looked thoughtful and silent. I followed his example and was lost in thought. Is he protecting his body with his aura just like we're doing? But why didn't I feel a single speck of internal energy from his attacks in the battle that just took place then? What is it? Things don't add up. Something was strange. But as I was failing to notice exactly what was strange, we crossed the snowfield. This is the home of the Great Me. The cave that the heavenly horse pointed at was not far from the snowfield. There was a wide hole in the ceiling, and the glow of the sunset poured in. Wow! The alchemist's mouth was wide open with shock. Her eyes glistened over the frosted spectacles. It's a hot spring, isn't it? There was an open-air bath in the cave. A deep pond had settled on the bottom of the cave. Water vapor rose from the surface of the pond. The natural hot spring was supposed to overcome the freezing cold and warm the surroundings with the consolation of sunset. With the hot spring flowing down, I thought it was a beautiful sight. The Great Me had found it a long time ago. The heavenly demon smiled like she was glad. I didn't expect to welcome strangers from the Sai Way as guests. Wash first. I'll look for food to serve you in addition to drinking water with that oldie. Is there anything else we can serve other than energy bars? Didn't I say let's go look for something? Old man, are your ears deafening as you age? Old man, you always call me that, but if you look at it, there's not much age difference between you and me. If you're offended, then you should have also grown some wisdom instead of getting old in vain. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord wobbled away to the other end of the cave. We stayed in the hot springs and looked at the two with curious eyes. That's amazing. They were engaged in a life-or-death battle just a while ago. They had been fighting for 3 years. There must be some affection or respect they grew for each other while fighting. The Medicine King grumbled. But it's warm and nice around here. As soon as I came to this world, I was so embarrassed to hold a man's hand. Now get away from me a little, Kimamun Master. How did the Sword Saint become friends with someone like you? Oh ho! Get your facts right. I allowed Marcus to become friends with me. What the? Well, I guess you and the Sword Saint are both weirdos. Frick, you're two of a kind. So we went into the open-air bath and took a rest. After we finished taking a bath, the two righteous and demonic sect people served us food. Well, I don't think we have any other food to serve you. It's an energy seed. Eat lots. What the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord served us were kernel beads. It was Huan. It looked like Chongsimlin, but the grain was a little bigger. Once upon a time, I could hunt prey like a wolf. These days, animals are so hard to see, let alone catch. I don't even know how the world came to be like this. No, thanks for your hospitality. I received the plate politely. It had been 3 years since the world collapsed. There's no way there'd be any other type of food around. Our party carefully nibbled at the Huan. Blag.
Ugh.
The venomous snake and the medicine king had a constipated face on. I almost coughed, too. The old beans tasted raw. They could barely be considered as food. You haven't really been surviving on this, have you? The alchemist picked up the Huan and looked around as if she were amazed. Almost so. For how long? The heavenly demon stared at the cave wall. The wall was inscribed with numerous calendar markings. Perhaps the two had kept track of the date 1 stroke a day when they began to live in this cave. It's been more than 2 years since we've been eating only the Huan. 2 years. The alchemist was speechless. 2 years. They said they had eaten only grains for 2 years. The alchemist groaned as if it was difficult for her to understand this. That's ridiculous. Then you won't be able to get proper nutrition. Without proper coordination of sugars and lipids, proteins, and vitamins and minerals, the human body. I don't know what you mean, but it's still edible. I can't stand it. The medicine king shouted back. Standing up suddenly, the medicine king took something out of his pocket. He pulled out all sorts of things, like burners, meat, seafood, and so on. Watch and learn, you idiots. TCH, you don't even have the energy to cross the snowfield. You not thinking about your bodies is the same as when I was young. Is there any water? Oh, the water, we melt snow and drink it, or once in a while, when the sun shines for a few days in a row, water runs through the stone in there. It's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. 70% of the human body is water, but you drink that kind of water occasionally. You need to drink water that is full of minerals. The medicine king, who set fire to a burner, took out bottled water and poured it into the pot. The alchemist was surprised to see the bottled water. You're using Bling H2O, aren't you? That expensive thing. What's so expensive about this? It's good for cooking, so I just use it. When I was outside the tower, I couldn't even see water. TCH, if it weren't for Marcus. The medicine king tilted his head over the cooking pot that he pulled out of nowhere. Hey, zombie. What's a Bling H2O? Well, maybe it's like Evian. What is Evian? Is that some kind of elixir of life? What's an elixir of life? There's this crazily expensive water. Then it must be similar. While Bei Hurayang and I chatted, the medicine king boiled the Evian like bottled water. Meanwhile, on the other side, he laid out a frying pan and a cutting board and started cooking. A savory smell filled the cave. Huff, hut. The medicine king's hands were quick. Mussel soup, white fish grilled to a crisp like a crusted steak and served on asparagus, a stir-fry dish consisting of a mysterious fish and long clams garnished with parsley, a porridge-like dish with clams and chopped mushrooms, and even a lamb leg cooked whole. All these dishes were cooked and served in just 15 minutes. Hey, everyone. It's not much, but eat it. Young-uns should eat a lot and be well. TSK. Seeing the dishes lined up in front of him, the Murim lord opened his eyes wide. Oh, no, but I am over thousands of years old. What, did you eat something that gives you eternal youth? If it were Silicon Valley, I would have patented it. If you're old, eat as much as your age. That's how you stay strong. The image of the Medicine King talking as he poured the mussel soup into a large bowl was similar to that of a foul-mouthed grandmother or grandfather. I also received a bowl of mussel soup. It smelled all right. Mussel soup was mussel soup, after all, but just as I thought that. Oh my God. It's so delicious. Was it because I've only been eating scraps of food like a breatharian or something, too? First of all, there was no trace of the usual fishy odor. And the soup wasn't just boiled with water. The broth was red, as some crimson vegetables had been added to it, and it was a little sour and savory, so the broth alone was delicious. The mussel meat was also chewy, so it was fantastic to bite into it and let the juice burst in my mouth and create an exquisite mixture with the broth as it wrapped around my tongue and teeth. It was like the pinnacle of taste. Even after winning the Sangrian lottery, I had only limited myself to the luxury of a white mocha frappuccino venti quadra shot Java chip half and half chocolate drizzle, which was enough of a shock to me. The alchemist, who was rolling in the slum as she hadn't yet become famous, seemed to be in the same position as me. Her eyes widened. Oh my God. It's delicious. The alchemist savored the taste and went on to explain. This shrimp. It's plump and solid. And even though it tastes like shrimp, there's no fish odor. How can shrimp taste like this? In addition, the millefeuille served for this dessert tastes like the nobility of Nunadine, one. And not just regular nobility but a high-ranking noble. The yogurt ice cream underneath is fresh and seems to be mixed with passion fruit juice, so it feels refreshingly sour. How does it taste this good? The Medicine King's nose haughtily pointed upward. That's because when I was in my 50s, I was awarded the 3 Michelin stars as the owner and chef of a restaurant. If I had a proper burner instead of something like this, I would have made something that would really fill up your stomachs. Could it be that the Medicine King wasn't just good at making some medicine but was actually a really amazing person? Was he not bluffing about Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and being a boxing champion? Why did such a great man come to the tower? The venomous snake also asked as if he was curious about it, with a mouthful of seafood porridge, the official name which seemed to be abalone truffle risotto. The Medicine King snorted. Why? Is it forbidden for someone like me to enter the tower? That Marcus came to the tower too. He had a point. Did you know each other from outside? No?
Ha!
He was just a filthy, nasty guy born to a filthy rich conglomerate. Compared to a self-made man in Silicon Valley like me, he's just a lucky guy. That guy ran out of that luck in his final years, and he came to the tower with a sword. His words, which began with a snort, ended in a whisper. The alchemist, the venomous snake, and I all looked at the Medicine King as if we were reconsidering our opinions of him. Maybe that gaze irritated him, as the Medicine King shook his ladle as if shaking off a bird. Just eat. So we ate. It was really delicious. It was the moment when the culinary director of the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon was decided. It's really the best taste. The Heavenly Demon, the protagonist of the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, said, as she constantly poured dishes into her mouth. Are you Imperial Guardians? No. It's different from Chinese cuisine. The Murim Lord sprayed his saliva while sucking on the cream pasta like a vacuum. That's exactly what I mean. I have eaten various dishes as a lord, but this is my first time eating something like this. Such strange dishes, and the appearance of abundance. I wonder where you come from, and why you came here. Did you find a new way to cure Jiangshir's disease? The 2 martial artists' eyes lit up. It was natural. From their standpoint, we were the first humans they had met in many years. Of course they found us fascinating, and of course they wondered if we had a cure. I felt sorry for them, but I shook my head. We haven't. We, too, are still looking for a cure. I guess it is like that. Were they as disappointed as they had been expectant? Their complexions became grim. Well. All of Kong Ho's doctors and experts rushed and tried to fix the mysterious disease, but none of them succeeded. Because even the experts of Jiangshi, the masters of the Mosin sect, had been turned, the circumstances would not have been different even if they were here now. Is there really no cure? I said. We're not bragging. You just saw the results of our cooking. We have different knowledge from you. This alchemist here, especially, is superior to anyone in curing diseases and making medicines. The alchemist, who was eating the lamb in big bites, blushed. The medicine king's murmurs of, "She's just lucky," that sounded next to us were. Well, I did feel a little sorry for him after he gave us such delicious food. This person over there is more than enough to assist the alchemist. If you help us a little, we can develop a cure. The heavenly demon and the Murim lord looked at each other. Cure? What are you saying? Well. It's not like there's no way. The alchemist's face turned red. What? What is it? Wait here. After a while, the heavenly demon and the Murim lord brought out a large coffin. When they opened the casket, there was a zombie lying there. Like the time when he talked about the warm body of the Murim lord, the sword emperor sealed his lips tight and furrowed his brow. The zombie was as calm as if it were under the sun. Maybe it was because it was tightly tied with chains or because of the spiky acupuncture needles embedded in each joint, but the zombie was lying immobile. I raised my head. This is one of the monks of the righteous sect, the heavenly demon said flatly. Right after being bitten by Jiangshi, he entrusted his body to us to study. But there is only one thing we figured out. It was to block the chi of the whole body with needles. The heavenly demon reached into the coffin. Be careful. The heavenly demon pulled out a large needle from the zombie's neck. At that exact moment, the zombie, who was as quiet as if it were sleeping, opened its eyes. Whoa! The alchemist was startled and fell back. The zombie opened its mouth as if to bite the frightened alchemist. Chul Kung! Chul Kung! Because of the chains, the zombie's attack ended in vain, but the alchemist couldn't help but sweat. As you can see. Puk. The heavenly demon stabbed the zombie's neck with the needle again. Then, the zombie slowly closed its eyes once more. The zombie's complexion relaxed, as if it had never even struggled. If you block the chi flow between the brain and spinal cord, you can calm the Jiangshi. It's the point where the cervix meets the spinal column. However, this is a stopgap measure rather than a cure. Anyone who is bitten by the Jiangshi becomes stained with takgi that spreads through the blood and respiratory tract. Takgi, or murky energy. Did he mean the virus? This takgi cannot be defeated no matter how much you meditate or try to starve it out. Even the demons, who cultivated magical power from the very beginning, and martial arts masters, who have clear spirits like streams, are finished once bitten. The whole body gets hot like a fire, and they soon become Jiangshi. The heavenly demon slowly covered the coffin. This Shaolin monk lasted the longest. Even though his arm was bitten by the Jiangshi, he kept his mind clear for a year. But that's one of the exceptions, and it's usually hard to last beyond 15 days, no matter how great one's mastery is. The heavenly demon sighed. Children of the outside world. Can you really find a cure? 3. The alchemist could not answer. Even the medicine king, who had a bad temperament, was speechless. The heavenly demon smiled bitterly when none of us could respond. That's all right. I thought there were only 2 people left in the world, the old man and me, but just seeing new people makes this old woman want to take care of you. Stay here for as long as you want. The Murim Lord nodded. I'll set up some sleeping places for you, so let's end here today. Though I want to talk to you about many things, we can try to resolve it tomorrow. The first day in the apocalypse. We had to spend the night without accomplishing much.
I
can't eat anymore. Marcus, you bastard, if you leave like that I'll only be in second place my whole life. Midnight. The party went to sleep while muttering and drooling. There was a bed near the open-air bath, so even though it was a little wet, I didn't have to worry about getting cold. Zombie. Why aren't you sleeping? I looked up at the sky. The cave had an open ceiling, so I could see the black night sky well. I have something to check. Instead of asking me what I wanted to check, the Sword Emperor shut his mouth. He must have guessed it. That guess was probably the same as mine. I pulled the blanket up to my face. Then, I closed my eyes and pretended that I had fallen asleep. The night deepened. SRRK. I felt someone approaching. It wasn't just one presence. There were two. I quietly held my breath without opening my eyes. The two of them lingered around us and whispered in very small voices. Are they asleep? I believe so. Then let's do it now. Hurry up. That's right. Let's finish it quickly. The voices of the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord. The sound gradually moved farther away from us. Splash. I heard the sounds of water. The two Murim people started taking a bath just after all of us fell asleep. It's now. Quick. I got up in a flash and ran toward the open-air bath. Beyond the thick vapor. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord were wearing white mourning clothes in the bath. They were enjoying the hot spring with languid faces and were surprised to see me suddenly run in. Ha! The Murim Lord dunked himself in the bath. The old man could not hide his embarrassment. Of course. Looking at their bodies, I was convinced that my predictions were correct. What? You. I thought you were asleep. The heavenly demon narrowed her eyes. She seemed to understand the situation a little faster than the old man. Sighing lightly, she looked at me quietly. This child is quick on the uptake. When did you realize it? I thought it was a bit weird from the first time I saw you. I opened my mouth. The weather was so cold, but the two of you were dressed lightly. One was wearing only a martial arts uniform, and the other was wearing a small morning outfit. The weather outside was freezing. If you didn't use aura, you couldn't survive at all. In such a powerfully cold climate, the Murim people in front of us had worn clothes that were no different from being naked. It meant that you were protecting your bodies from the cold by circulating your life energy. In other words, it meant that you were highly skilled at manipulating your life energy. But how could such skilled people get tired from small fights or walking a little? It was strange. I said slowly. There is only one explanation for this. The two of you are focusing all your efforts on other work. You told us just a little while ago that once bitten by Jiangshi, a person's whole body will be stained with takgi. I looked straight through the water vapor at the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord. You two have already been bitten, correct? I think it's like this. Heavenly demon Nim and Murim Lord Nim. Both of you were infected by the Jiangshi a long time ago. But with your magic and martial arts, you're holding back the takgi with tremendous effort. Am I wrong? The silence settled in the open-air bath. Splash. I heard the sound of water being shaken off, and soon, the heavenly demon stood up. Madhu. You. It's fine. Old man. Haven't we been completely figured out already? The heavenly demon shook her head. Child of the outside world. Your words are right. She turned her back toward me. The pure white back of the heavenly demon. The old man and I were already bitten by the juncture 3 years ago. There was a scar that was rotting and purple. The Murim Lord also slowly showed the back of his neck. But, strictly speaking, there is one part of your words that is wrong. Likewise, there was a rotting wound there. However, the wound stopped at the neck. We're not suppressing the takgi. Above the neck, there was a clean, human face. With that clean face, the Murim Lord said. We blocked the takgi by blocking the cervical part of our spinal cord with our life energy. The Sword Emperor clicked his tongue. Insanity. It's telekinesis. Telekinesis? Gongja. Do you know what the chi sword is? Yes, it's a technique to wrap a sword with life energy and make it fly. Could it be? There was no way. That's right. Blocking the cervical spinal point means that the sensation under the neck disappears. Then, of course you can't move. In other words, they have become paralyzed, but the way they are moving now. It's like using the chi sword to move your whole body with life energy. Bei Hurayong said quietly. Moving the heart. Making it beat. Breathing through their lungs. Inhaling and exhaling air. Moving their joints while extending one arm, and controlling their back, knees, ankles, and soles while extending their legs forward. In short, everything they need to live and move. Those guys are controlling everything one by one with their life energy. To prevent the zombie virus from spreading through the spinal cord to their brains. The two martial artists closed off their own brains. I was silent. CHK. It's the same as if they are using the chi sword 24/7. So even if they take a few steps, they lose strength. They're crazy. The heavenly demon said, as if hearing Bei Hurayong's words. We are carrying out the great battle of good and evil like this. The Murim Lord picked up where she left off again. 3 years have already passed since then. Heavenly demon Nim. It can't go on like this. Heavenly demon Nim. Half of the blood guard has been destroyed. The elders have scattered all over after saying they will enter the world of martial arts, but we've already lost track of their locations. It's not the time to fight the idiots in the factions. It may be the biggest crisis our cult, no, maybe our world, has faced. With this vacancy, the bums are spreading rumors. Heavenly demon Nim. As you ordered, we have made a pharmacy that does not distinguish between the sections. The leaders of the Tangmun came, as did the masters of the Mozen sect. I will catch some juncture and get results as soon as possible. Heavenly demon Nim. The Woliong cavalry and even the blood demon have been attacked. Even if we defeat 100 juncture today, 1,000 new juncture will be created tomorrow. I can't handle this mysterious disease. The pharmacy says that we can block the upper body with needles in order to block the juncture, but this method is. Heavenly demon Nim. Please flee to Nakdo. If you block yourself off on the island, no matter how many juncture are there, 1 million or 10 million, they will not be able to cross the sea. How could this place be the only group that practices martial arts? If we set up the banner of our cult, it will still be a part of the martial world. Heavenly demon Nim. Why should you keep to the worthless promise? It was an oath made before the world became corrupt. The law of the heavens has changed, and a human's duties always change. Forget the oath you made with the Murim Lord, and please retreat to make a comeback later. Heavenly demon Nim. Heavenly demon Nim. How did you endure it? After being silent for a while, the first question I asked was this. Just how did they endure this? The hellish world where people became corpses. Even they had become half a corpse. How did they endure 3 years with the danger of their heart stopping if the flow of his chi was blocked for even a moment? The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord couldn't answer right away. The two looked at each other. And after sharing a look that I couldn't understand, they nodded as one. Follow us. The two left the cave. I followed them. When we left the cave, we were silent. We walked carefully so as not to wake up the other party by accident. So we were silent for a long time. As soon as we reached the end of the cave, the stillness broke. Humans all die someday. Outside, dawn was coming. There is an interesting story told among Murim. There was once a high master who achieved both 1,000 poisons immunity and stone durability. With the techniques, no poison could eat away at his insides, and no sword could injure his skin. The heavenly demon let out a sigh. He can be said to be almost invincible. Inside, he was invincible. Outside, he was invincible. How can one kill a person who can't be harmed with even the most brutal poison nor the sharpest sword? The dawn sky became blue. At dawn, the world was just a pale shade of itself. But there is one thing that the old stories could never tolerate. It is invincibility. The world that became a shadow. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord walked in that place. Step by step. Slowly. Footprints could only touch the ground, never the sky. It was only with one's own steps that one could distinguish between heaven and earth. Children of the outside world. The heavenly demon glanced back. We left the cave and arrived at yesterday's fields of snow. We were walking to a place surrounded by zombies who knew martial arts. Can you guess how that high master died? How did he die? He died because of a succubus. The corner of the heavenly demon's mouth rose. The pleasure of uniting yin and yang is not poison. It's not a sword, either. But isn't excessive pleasure also a poison? Correct. Thus, the succubus did not offer a storm of pleasure from the beginning. She was clever. She calmly took her time. At first, she started with the most subtle pleasure. In the end, he indulged in even the most lethal of pleasures. Thus she tamed and domesticated the master. The dawn broke. The snowfield became a little white. The white puffs resembled the breath of the heavenly demon. As he had intercourse with the succubus, he stopped thinking of her palms slapping him as pain. Her whip came to be recognized as a pleasure. The succubus gestures, footsteps, and even small glances became a sort of happiness for the master. Sweet. The heavenly demon raised her hand. At the last moment, she stroked her neck. Lightly. The succubus just lightly choked the master and strangled him. There was no need for strong martial arts. It didn't take much effort. 2 hands. She choked his neck with her 2 hands. As he suffocated, unable to breathe, he was soaked with pleasure and smiled brightly. Even after death, his face was smiling happily. The heavenly demon snickered. The High Master, who reached the climax, was literally killed during the climax. He was invincible inside and outside, but he was not invincible to happiness. In the middle of the snowy field, we could see the corpses. Though they were dead, the corpses could move as if they were alive. Soaked in the light of dawn, they stiffened. The corpses didn't even move, so it looked like a forest of shadows. The lesson of this story is simple. Don't play around with succubi, obviously. The Murim Lord grumbled. It's not just an old story. It's something that really happened. Humph. He was a master raised among jade and gold in the Tangmun, but that bitch was secretly a succubus sent to assassinate him. Ho ho. Zombies were scattered everywhere in the snowy field. Was it because they had chased our party yesterday? The heavenly demon approached the zombies. Most of the novices who set out to learn martial arts don't understand. They think the goal of martial artists is to become invincible, and that the reason for learning martial arts is to obtain immortality and eternal life. With a quick breath, the demon hoisted up a zombie. They're wrong. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord. The two lifted and carried the zombies. Anyone who has achieved the 1,000 poisons immunity will die from something other than poison. Those who achieve the stone durability will die by something other than a sword. Do you understand? Martial artists don't simply choose which martial arts to learn. The heavenly demon arduously moved the zombies. It's about choosing what kind of warrior you will live as, and also how you will die. The heavenly demon's movement as he moved the zombies was sluggish and slow. Like a delivery man after dropping off a heavy load, the demon put the zombies down mid-route, breathed deeply, and moved again. Humans all die someday. He repeated those words. As if we didn't know that already. How can we be bitter about the fact that we'll die? Last night the zombies seemed to have wandered about here and there. The scattered zombies were gathered again by the demon and the Murim Lord. But I didn't want a death like this. It took a long time. The two of them had poor physical strength, and there were too many bodies. Assassination is good. Poisoning is also good. It is also good to be attacked by an army, or be killed by one of the Shaolin monks. It is good to die, betrayed by a trusted subordinate, and it is perfectly good to die while doing something for the younger generation. Middle of the sky. By the time the demon and the Murim Lord put the zombies back in their place, the sun rose to the middle of the sky. Before we knew it, the footprints of the two people were captured in the snowy field. But a death like this is unacceptable. The heavenly demon took a quick breath and looked at me. You asked me how I endured it. We just want to die the way we want. Hundreds of corpses, the sex elders, were lined up. Hundreds of corpses, the members of the demonic cult, were lined up as well. Thus, the zombies seemed like an army divided into two troops, as if they were about to run into battle. I suddenly thought this. Even though their cause of death is the same, they all died on different dates. When we fell into the world of apocalypse and saw zombies for the first time. The conversation that our party had while observing the forest of corpses. It looks like someone intentionally moved the bodies. Is it some kind of tomb? It's a grave. From a distance, they look like terracotta warriors. At night, the zombies move freely. Nevertheless, as many as 1,000 zombies were gathered in one place in the snow. If you thought about it, wasn't this in itself strange? Who? Ahem. That was right. Someone intentionally put the zombies in one place. Not a lot of them went far today. 500 people from the demonic cult. Last night, the moonlight was clear. Though not as much as sunlight, the moonlight can also stop the jiangshi. 500 people of the sect. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord each moved their own men. It was hard work that took a full day. However, the two moved silently. As if it was a normal routine. We are carrying out the great war like this. 3 years have already passed since then. It snowed. This righteous sect will never fall to the jiangshi. People died. The people of our cult will not be destroyed, eaten by mere corpses. Even if the 9 great schools and 5 noble clans disappeared. Surely, if our sect is to be destroyed, it must be because of the wicked fingertips of demonic cult. Even if the martial arts texts became so dusty that it became impossible to read the words. If this cult disappears from the world, it is only by the blade of that sect. This world had not yet perished. Because these two people have to die in order for the world to end. Let's say that there are 1 billion people in the world, and 999,999,999 people die of infectious diseases. There's only one person left. And if the last person in the world takes his own life, then the destruction of the world won't be caused by an illness, it'll be suicide. At least, that's what the righteous sect's leader and the demonic cult's god believed. Murim Lord. Namgung family, Taesang family head. Namgung Un. The old man took his stance. I am Buwul Sun, the axe saint. Demon Lord. So Baek Hyang. The woman took her stance. I am the heavenly demon. The sun crossed the middle of the sky. Years had passed since there were only 2 people left in the world. During those years, their only job was to determine the cause of this world's apocalypse. I request our 990th battle. Would the Murim Lord destroy the demonic cult? To surrender, or to the death? Or would the heavenly demon destroy the righteous sect? To the death. I accept. The 2 fighters began their battle. In the middle of the snowy field where 500 righteous sect members and 500 demonic cults members stood, the Murim Lord and the heavenly demon rushed at each other. I still couldn't recognize the martial arts of the 2. When I looked at them, they were barely stepping forward. It was hard. They could barely reach their arms out. Their foot movements were so slow that they wouldn't even be able to catch a child. Their hand movements were weak, and they would not be able to crush even a single tangerine. A decaying genre. A decaying world. They were slowly dying in this apocalypse, well into its 990th day. I opened my mouth. I watched their dances from afar and muttered unknowingly. It can't go on like this. My heart was beating. It's absurd. It wasn't supposed to be like this. A fierce fight broke out in the snow. The Murim Lord and the demon, who once demonstrated splendid martial arts while discussing the first people in the world, could now only fight on the level of a child. They rolled about in the snow. They tripped from taking a wrong step. They grabbed a beard and pulled their hair. In the eyes of the Sword Emperor, that might look like a really great fight. Yes. I'm just a beginner who just started swordsmanship. However, no matter how great the principle is, no matter how great the hidden reason is. The day had passed, and it became evening. The Murim Lord and the heavenly demon never stopped fighting. This is an insult. The sun went down. Even today, the match was not decided. It's an insult to the 2. A world in decline. In a world where there was no way to cure an epidemic, the 2 martial artists were strong enough to survive. However, they were too weak to take each other's lives. This can't go on. The world was cruel because you can't be born the way you want. So what was a world where you can't die the way you want? You couldn't even end it properly. Their lives had just been cut off in the middle. What will you do? Bei Hurayong said quietly. Will you kill the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord in their stead? That's right. That can be a merciful gift, too. That's what I would do. But don't forget that you and I are nothing more than strangers. I know. The 2 martial artists did not want to commit suicide. If they had to die, then they wanted their deaths to be at the hands of the other person. The demonic cult would not perish due to a mysterious illness but be defeated by the righteous sect. The righteous sect would not succumb to an infectious disease, but be broken by the demonic cult. It was that kind of ending. The right ending. An acceptable death. If I intrude and kill the two, it will neither be the end nor the conclusion. It wouldn't be a merciful gift either. That sort of thing would only be graffiti that a child adds to the back of a storybook. It shouldn't be that way. I said to Bei Hurayong. I am going to finish this world in my own way. What is that way? I did not answer Bei Hurayong's question. The sun set. It's already night time. Old man. Maybe since it's winter. Huh. The day is short. I'll defeat you tomorrow for sure. Who do you think? The evening deepened. The 990th day of the war naturally ended in a truce. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord shook hands, and they went back to the cave in a more exhausted way than yesterday. Where have you been? The party greeted us. The venomous snake stood guard at the entrance to the cave, and the alchemist and the medicine king were busy researching the zombie. It was the zombie of the faction leader who surprised us yesterday. We were looking at the patient. We were too busy yesterday. Did you make any progress? The medicine king and the alchemist looked at each other. The medicine king said first. Not yet. Yes. Since this is the first virus of its kind. As expected. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord walked to the other side of the cave, saying they would rest first. I noticed that the backs of the two fighters were moving away and turned to the alchemist. Boss. Yes? Please be honest. How long do you think it would take to make a cure? The alchemist hesitated. To be honest with you. At least 120 days. Twice that. It may take 3 times more. The schedule for this sort of thing should be more generous, usually. But even if you have a generous schedule, it isn't enough, the medicine king added bluntly. The alchemist drooped down her head. Yes, that is also right. It's really the worst case. 100 days on the shorter end. And on the longer end, about 300 days? That. The alchemist dropped his head even lower. Actually, we may not be able to make it at all. The facilities and the environment are also poor. At this point, I can't guarantee you anything. Death King Nim. I'm sorry. You trusted me and brought me to such a stage. It is impossible to develop a cure within the time limit. The time limit. The librarian said this when he sent us to this apocalypse. If you open your eyes, it will be the world 10 days before the unfortunate serial interruption of the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon. Please, I look forward to the wonderful ending that you'll show me. In other words, no matter what happened, the world would really end in the next 10 days. The heavenly demon and the Murim Lord, who have survived so far, will also die. As the alchemist said, 10 days was the time limit. I'm really sorry. Don't be. I shook my head. That's enough. What? You don't need to worry. Boss. A dagger at my waist. I touched its handle slowly. I will somehow solve the problem of time. Don't give up, and keep researching. The words you heard when we first fell into this world yesterday. Do you remember them? This was no ordinary book. This was an entire world. We were here to save the world. The alchemist nodded carefully. The two of us shared a look. I remember. Of course I remember, Death King Nim. I also nodded. My words are the same as yesterday. The time limit is right in front of us. If we don't break this stage, we can never escape from the apocalypse. Please set aside any thoughts that will get in the way. I will do my best in my position, so please show me your best, too. I'll clear all my doubts. Yes. I promise you. All other issues will be handled on their own, I said to the person who will be called the Alchemy Lord in the future. Please trust me and keep working. The alchemist gently closed her eyes. After a while, her lips opened. If it weren't for you, Death King, I would still be in the back alleys of the slum. All my equipment was stolen. Honestly, I can't imagine what would have happened. The alchemist slowly opened her eyes. Beyond her glasses, her eyes were much clearer than before. Yes. I want to repay you for what you did for me. I'll devote myself solely to making the medicine without thinking. But I can't really see my surroundings when I'm distracted by my work. I am not polite either. I'll probably be very cocky. Still. That doesn't matter. I nodded. Please show off your skills to your heart's content. Now was not the time to worry about fine manners. I just need good returns on my investment in the future. I understand. The alchemist fixed her glasses. She turned her head and looked at the Medicine King. Sir. What? From now on, please support me with your full strength. The Medicine King frowned. The old man's wrinkles were as thick as his stubbornness. Support? Support? Have you seen such a horrible thing? Yes, this. Even cold water has order to it. Top and bottom. How dare this greenhorn ask the Medicine King to support her? Skill card open. Huh? Cards sprang out from the alchemist's hand. 1 golden card. 3 silver cards. The alchemist acquired 4 skills that were difficult to obtain for an ordinary hunter. Furthermore, she only had advanced skills that were B grade or higher. The Medicine King's eyes widened into circles. What is this? Are you trying to show off your skills to me? Hey. Younguns think that everything can be done with just skills. You don't know what true ability is. The alchemist replied. You can look at it. What? You can look at what my skills are. The Medicine King was embarrassed and couldn't respond right away. It was natural. Skills were secret weapons for hunters. Any savvy hunter knew that they should never let others learn their skills. Revealing skills was like confessing not only one's own strengths but also one's weaknesses. In a word, it was pure stupidity. A dumb and foolish act. Or should I just show it to you myself? However, the alchemist did not hesitate. This skill is called Moving Hospital. She turned the card over and showed it to the Medicine King. Everything from a blood test to an EEG test is possible in real time. I can also take out and use the drugs I store in advance. However, there is a 2% chance of a misdiagnosis. This is life diagnosis. It shows me a patient's condition in terms of genes. I can combine the 2 skills to minimize the probability of a misdiagnosis. Wait a moment. Wait just a minute. The Medicine King belatedly caught up his thoughts. Why are you showing me your skills? What if I expose this to the Alchemy Castle or to my business partners? It's all right. I swore that I wouldn't care about such petty thoughts, the alchemist said. If you want to make it public, do it. But please support me this time until we make a treatment. No, but why are you asking me? Because I need you to speed up development time, even if it's just by a day. You hate looking at me, right? The alchemist looked at the Medicine King. It was a calm, cold look. The alchemist used to be flustered often, but now her face was completely expressionless. Are you angry because this young un doesn't know about the topic? It must be annoying that someone like me has talent, right? You're annoyed like crazy because you know I'm going to live longer than you and be admired by people for longer than you, right? The human voice is often compared to that of a bird. But I bet the alchemist's voice could not be imitated by any beast. To put it frankly, it was like this. Her voice reminded me of a bug. It was like the sizzle of a fire ant colony. If you can help me with your utmost power this time. The alchemist fixed her glasses. The medicine recipes I have made so far. I'll give you everything. I won't go anywhere or tell them they're my recipes. You can have them. Use them. Tell people that it's a recipe you invented. At that moment, the alchemist's glasses slipped and fell to the floor. The old man had slapped her on the cheek. The alchemist picked up her glasses. Then, she silently wiped the glasses with her sleeves. A red handprint remained on her left cheek. The alchemist put on her glasses again, then silently looked at the old man. The old man trembled. You wicked thing. I will analyze the zombie virus. You will learn that there is a sky above the sky. Sir, please do the things I tell you to do. The day will come when your pride will be crushed and you will exude a rotten odor. I'll write down what I need and give it to you. Someday you too. At that time, sir. The old man and the woman spoke at the same time. You will meet someone better than you. Find it and give it to me. And the two hunters fell silent. The alchemist on the left and the Medicine King on the right sat on either side of the corpse of the faction leader. When the alchemist muttered something, the Medicine King wrote it down. It was a neutral, muted atmosphere. The two, who became more of a still life art than a portrait, only conversed about business. Death King Nim. I'm sorry, but please leave, the alchemist mumbled, cutting into the corpse's head with a surgical knife. The sound of your breath is disturbing me. A lot. It's very, very disturbing. Go and catch 6 more zombies while you're out. The Medicine King peered into the corpse's dark mouth. The Medicine King pinched the zombie's tongue, stained purple and black, with his tongs. I need more samples. A kid. A young adult. An old person. Each with a different gender. And if there are any medicinal herbs that I say I need, get them. I nodded. Leave it to me. From that day, we went into a state of war. Even eating was a waste of time. Washing one's body was a luxury. Even though there was an open-air bath right next to us, the alchemist and the Medicine King did not take a bath. Whether it was night or day, the two hunters only studied the zombies while cracking at the edge of the wall. The atmosphere has changed drastically. The heavenly demon looked at our party as if she were curious. Are you trying to gain enlightenment? Young people sure are eager. Why don't you cook the clam soup or risotto? The Murim Lord coaxed the Medicine King. It was so skillful that even the imperial family's chef would cry. If the world was fine, I would have appointed you as the chef of the Daenom Palace. I'm busy. Buzz off, the Medicine King replied without raising his head. He only put one hand in his subspace pocket and threw a water bottle. If you're hungry, fill yourself up with water. KNNGG. Was it that regrettable that he couldn't taste the Medicine King's dishes? The Murim Lord smacked his lips. Even so, he caught the bling H20 thrown by the Medicine King and drank it all. Old man. Don't bother busy people. Let's go. All right, all right? Oh, I'm having a hard time because my body doesn't listen to me these days. The Murim Lord grumbled as if he was tired. Today again, how much have the Jiangshi scattered? Would those who stray far away go to heaven? Stop talking and come out. I'm coming. The Murim Lord grumbled and left the cave with the heavenly demon. Like yesterday, they were trying to collect and line up zombies to spend the 991th day of the Great War. A day had passed. The day when this world would reach its end became one day closer. Another day had passed. Another day. Again, another day passed by. Countdown. Days just waiting for destruction. A world in a music box that just hadn't stopped yet. 1 week. Just a week had passed since we fell into the apocalypse. That day, the heavenly demon looked up at the ceiling of the cave. We can't go outside today. Outside, a blizzard was raging. The wind blew and blew again, so there was no distinction between the top and the bottom, and the sky and the earth. The world was a dark snowfield. This was the first time I learned that something white could become this dark. Well, some days are just like this. The heavenly demon just shrugged her shoulders, as if saying that it was no problem. Rather, it was a fluke that the days were sunny for the past few days. In severe cases, it could be a complete whiteout for over 30 days. There was no sunlight, so we couldn't even take a step. Then, the Jiangshi will continue to move, I said. Will that be all right? If the Jiangshi go too far, you won't be able to recover them. In that case, it can't be helped. We lose them. The heavenly demon sighed. Just 3 years ago, our school's power reached 1,000. That's about the same amount of people that the old man brought into his sect. But as the years passed, there were Jiangshi that went so far that we couldn't find them at all. Of course. The missing corpses. No. Not missing, but lost bodies. Every time a blizzard struck in the sky, the heavenly demon and the Murim Lord would have lost some of their Jiangshi. That must be the scariest thing. To wake up and go to the snowfield just to discover that some Jiangshi had disappeared somewhere. The heavenly demon looked at me quietly. Do you think that I would feel scared? The woman's eyes were dark. Her hair as well. Even the clothes that she wore. Her appearance, which was only black, seemed to desperately resist this world that had become a pure white snowfield. Yes. I think so. Surely the world has turned over a lot. Back then, the head of a man who talked like that would not be safe. Child of the outside world. You should consider yourself fortunate that the world is ruined. Heavenly Demon Nim and the Murim Lord are masters. You are so well versed in the martial arts that it would be shameful to compare you with me. I quietly looked away. The Murim Lord was asleep by the hot spring. But no matter how strong you are, your life energy is not infinite. What are you talking about? When will your chi run out? Stop. You are blocking your spinal cord with your life energy. Your heart rate, breathing, and limb movements are all controlled with your life energy as well. It was like using a chi sword all day, every day. I shook my head. No matter how much life energy you have, you cannot continue this outrageous thing forever. I'll ask again. When will your chi run out, Heavenly Demon Nim? That woman had said a while ago. Humans all die someday. Something resonated in those words. It was the sound of realization. There is only one way humans can realize something. They had to experience it themselves. Really? The heavenly demon groaned. Really, this child is quick to notice. You don't have many days left, right? I'll revise my words a little. This child is dirtily quick to notice. This world. How does the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon get destroyed? If you think about it, it was a surprisingly simple matter. If your life energy falls, it becomes impossible for you two to move your bodies. Correct? The heavenly demon looked up at the sky. From the hole in the ceiling of the cave, a blizzard poured out of the sky as if it was raging. First, the tip of the toe and the fingertips will be destroyed. Then, the calves and wrists. Knees. Shoulders. Waist. One after the other, the life energy will not be able to sustain them, and the body that did not yield to the illness will finally rot. Literally, it was necrosis. It was like a building that stopped operating one after another when fuel ran out. At some point, the two would become immobile. Heart. Lungs. The woman touched the chest area of her shabby uniform. The upper body. Then, she tapped her head. All parts will rot, leaving only 3 parts. No. It's all right if the other parts rot. You already know. The Shaolin monk endured a year altogether. The heavenly demon smiled bitterly. He went into hiding, ashamed that others might see him and think him unworthy as a monk. At the last minute. Except for his face, it wasn't much different from the juncture. The whole body was rotting black. He couldn't even recite the Amitabha. You asked if I was afraid. That's right. I'm afraid. The human voice is often compared to that of a bird. But I bet the heavenly demon's voice could not be imitated by any beast. I am afraid. A quiet murmur like the sound of a falling flower petal. I am afraid that my chi is exhausted. I am afraid that even my persistence will run out. I am afraid of the blizzard. I am afraid that the sunlight will not come out, and when the day is bright, I am afraid that my subordinates, those that used to be my subordinates, will disappear. Each time I breathe, I worry about how many more breaths I can breathe. Every time my heart beats, I'm worried if I'll be able to feel the beating of my heart just a few more times in the future. The heavenly demon sighed. I'm afraid that I cannot kill the old man. I'm afraid that the old man will not be able to kill me. I am afraid that the day will come when the old man and I will not be able to lie on the bed together. Lying on the bed, I'm afraid that I'm just waiting for my life energy to run out. A meaningless death. Even if they struggled to the end, it was meaningless. They would die. In a dead, disappearing world, only snow falls and falls, leaving only achromatic landscape paintings. This is the end that, the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon, will meet. It was the ending of this world. This is why the world is so scared. Another day passed. It was the 8th day after falling in the apocalypse. There were 2 days left until the world would be destroyed. Madhu, the Murim Lord, muttered, lying on the bed. I can't move my body anymore. The Murim Lord was smiling. And he was crying. I'm sorry. A low noise. That was the sound of a world's downfall.